Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's just me again today, and what I wanted to do with this episode, there's a couple of things. The first is I'm going to talk about something that'll be changing a little bit on the show. Got a bit of an update for you and something to look out for over the next coming weeks, which I believe is an exciting development, and I hope you will too. And secondly, of all, I wanted to essentially answer a question that I've asked a number of guests in one format or another, and I know that a lot of people like to ask this question or know the answers that people would have to this question. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to first of all talk about what this question is, and don't worry, I'll get to it. But what I'm the question is essentially, and it's especially relevant, I think, with the kind of year that we've had in 2020, depending when you were listening to this, and people looking ahead to the new year and all that kind of thing, that things have changed. Things have become different, and a lot of businesses out there have found themselves in challenging and difficult situations. And that begs the question of, well, are a lot of businesses essentially going into startup mode? Have they had to adjust, change, pivot is the phrase that seems to be popular that going around at the moment, right? So if I had to go back, start all over again with nothing, and I had to build a business from scratch, how would I do it? How would I go about doing it? And what are the things that I would look to do in order to build something from zero to nothing, from zero to a successful business in as short as time as possible? So that's a question I ask a lot of people. Sometimes it's what would you do to save your business in 30 days or anything like that. But I wanted to cover this, as I say, because there are a lot of people that could potentially be in that situation, whether whether somebody has lost a job and they are thinking, right, well, I'm going to just take this opportunity to go and start my own thing, or maybe their industry or the thing that they were selling is struggling and they've needed to change or do something, and sadly a lot of people are going out of business. So what do you do to start again? So here's how I would answer that question. The first thing is, I would not think about what I am going to be selling. Now, that might sound a bit counterintuitive, right? But bear with me, because what I would think about is, what is a problem out there at the moment that people are really struggling with? And do I have an idea for how I can solve that problem? Because a lot of people, they sort of think about, okay, well, or they talk about, well, you need to go and find your ideal client and all this and that, or the opposite, which tends to be even more of a direction that you don't necessarily want to go in, and that is, I've got this idea for a thing. I want to do create a service or blah 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 blah, without sort of really understanding whether there is the market demand and all the rest of it for it. So I'd start with a problem. I'd start looking at what problem exists out there that people are already paying money to solve. Because let's be honest, there are very few brand new ideas out there under the sun. So why make it difficult and try and become the unicorn that makes the next Facebook, right? Look out there for problems that people already have, that they're paying money to solve, that you have enough experience around being able to find that solution to the problem, and actually go and think about, right, this is the area that I am going to focus on. Because you need to really fall in love with a problem that you solve rather than the thing that you do. And I think that's a bit of honestly a bit of a mistake I made right at the beginning. I sort of thought, I like doing marketing, so I'm going to go and do marketing. I didn't really think about it. So as I say, I'm now in a bit of a transition as well, and I am eating my own dog food, and I am looking at ways of really sort of focusing and honing in on solving a problem. So that's the first thing I'd do. I'd think about what is the problem. Then I'd sort of consider, okay, well, let's go and look at who has this problem, what types of people have this problem, what do they say about the problem, and I'd spend a bit of time doing some research. I'd go on to forums, groups, Facebook groups, all that kind of thing. Or I'd certainly do a lot of time, spend a lot of time employing the Jay Abraham research technique. It really helps you get into the mind of your ideal client, that how you can think like a fish. And he says, he talks about using Amazon as the ultimate research tool. So go and find the best-selling books around the topic of the problem that you're looking to solve, and then go and look at the reviews, the 1 stars and the 5 stars. You'll find out where people are finding real value in the information that they're being given. And also that's with the 5 star, but also with the 1 stars, you'll find some of the gaps, because ultimately what you're looking to do is fill the gap with your expertise, with your knowledge, with your solution. So you're really looking for the gap, and you can do that by going out and doing some research, listening in what people are saying. The other thing that I do is I go and talk to people. If I had an idea of the problem that I wanted to solve, and I had some people that I already knew in my network, I'd sort of approach them and say, look, I've got this idea. I'd love to sort of pick your brain a little bit. And if you know them, then that's the sort of thing that you can do. And you just ask them questions. How are you dealing with this problem? Do you have it? First of all, how are you dealing with it? What are the consequences of not solving it? All that kind of thing. What have you tried to use to solve it in the past? How did that work for you? All those kind of things, and really sort of find out, what would be an ideal solution for you. All those kind of things you can ask and get straight from the mouths, and you can then start to think, right, okay, this is a validated idea, and I know that people are going to want to pay. That there are people out there spending money on solving this problem. So that's the first thing I'd do, and then I'd simply come up with a model around how I would go about solving that problem. I would create a clear action plan for how that is done, that can be presented to people to show this is the way that we solve this problem. Still not talking about service, because I think that the biggest gift that you can get someone, or one of the biggest problems that we can solve for people when selling a service, because services are intangible. There is rarely anything to actually touch, feel, see, all that kind of thing. So we need to actually find a way to create tangible assets from an intangible service. So I would look to create some form of model, roadmap, something like that, that actually shows how you give someone a clear path to go from where they are now to where they want to get to, which is solving the problem. Because that is one of the ultimate problems that we as service providers solve. If we can show someone that we have the best thought out, well considered, proven, most logical, fastest path to solving their problem, and it looks like this, we take you from step 1 to step 2 to step 3, etc., etc., etc. And along the lines, we chalk up all these little micro wins along the way to solve your ultimate problem, or to achieve your ultimate result, whatever that looks like. Then you're giving someone clarity and confidence that A, you know how to solve a problem, and B, they can see themselves solving that problem. So that's one of the things that I would do, and it's something that I have created now, with a growth accelerator ecosystem and things like that. But if you don't have something like this, it's incredibly powerful, because it gives you a visual, tangible representation of how you help somebody get a result or solve a problem. So those are the first 2 things I do. And then when it came to actually thinking about, okay, well, how am I going to generate business for this? Well, first of all, you need to think, how am I going to price this? And that pricing will generally depend on how you are going to deliver it. So if it's you delivering a service one-on-one, you will need to price it appropriately, that represents the amount of time that you will invest with a client. So that will tend to be your higher level. But I've had so many people on the show talking about leveraging and group formats, virtual formats, especially in today's world. I would certainly consider going down that route at the beginning, so that I was able to leverage my time. And that's again something that I am implementing more and more of in the business, but it's not something that I have necessarily gone all in on. But we all make mistakes. We don't always eat our own dog food, right? So it would be that thing of focusing on solving one problem for one type of person with one offer, because ultimately That is the key thing. You need to create that offer that really resonates with someone, so that when it's put in front of someone, they go, I want that. I have to have that. That makes sense. Let's go. So those are the key things. And when it comes to then actually marketing that solution, marketing your service, a lot of people will sort of go, right, well, I need to go down the route of doing all this online marketing. Do I need to buy Facebook ads? Do I need to invest in SEO? Do I need a website? Do I need X, Y, and Z and all the rest of it? Now, of course, you can go down that route. You can go and do things like set up a podcast, right? I've done that. It's part of my ecosystem, but it's not what I would suggest doing for everybody if you're literally just starting, because it takes time to build and improve on. So what would I do? Well, my ecosystem, my Growth Accelerator ecosystem, is built on 3 core pieces, which is authority, assets, and alliances, right? So the authority piece is there around what we've really just covered, which is understanding your market, developing your message, and crafting a unique and specific offer to your market that is irresistible. I call it a dynamite offer. And authority is important because when you are perceived as an expert or an authority on a subject, people will listen to you, they will pay you attention, and they will respect what you say. But it's very difficult to create and craft all of that, even if you've done all the work, building or positioning that authority. It's very difficult to gather it all unless you actually get in front of people and people pay attention and they listen to what you say. So that is why it's so important to craft certain assets in your business. Those assets are the kind of things that will work for you again and again and again. They will produce an ROI, both on the, in terms of cash, but a return on investment on the amount of time you put in to create those things once and then can use over and over again. Things like, well, a podcast is an example, but you've heard the terms lead magnets or video and content and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're all great and they will work. One thing that I would focus on creating is a form of signature talk. And when I talk about signature talk, it's something that solves a very, a specific problem for your ideal perfect client that you know that you can deliver and teach and train to a group of people in a way that will add them value, help them see how they can solve a problem, and provide context around how you do that. And then you can make an offer at the end of it to say, this is how we could help you go a little bit further and solve a problem with us. But then the question always comes, well, okay, that sounds great and all the rest of it, but how am I going to actually get my stuff in front? And that's surely when I need to go and do Facebook stuff and all the other stuff that you can do when it comes to digital and online marketing, right? Well, you could do all of that, or you could actually take the smart approach, which is to look at developing partnerships and alliances with other businesses that are complementary to you, that would value you delivering your expertise to their client list, to their audience, to their network, that kind of thing. And that's where the alliance piece comes in, because hands down, without a doubt, the fastest and most reliable way to market and getting in front of the people that you want to talk to, it is alliances. Now, I know this because it's now a big part of what I focus on, and a little sort of backstory before I started Think Like a Fish. I helped start an events business that was selling financial conferences in the Middle East, and I was responsible for marketing, delegate sales, all that kind of thing. And in the first year, I made partnerships a top marketing priority. And so what I did was form multiple partnerships with media, industry publications, vendors, suppliers, all those kind of things, businesses that sold to our ideal delegates to essentially market our events to their audience, right? And so as a result of all of those things, and we literally had a tiny marketing budget. It was literally me and 2 others in an office with nothing more than a laptop and a phone, right, at the very beginning. And in the first year, our database grew from literally 0 to a little bit shy of of just under 4,000, I think it was, highly qualified potential delegates, and our first, I think the first year revenue sale of delegate sales was a smidge over $1 million. And it was literally a tiny amount, because I remember at the time thinking, we're not going to get there, and we just got over the line, and that was across four events. Now that's literally a 0 to 7 figure revenue stream in a little over 12 months. We started the business, did the planning and stuff beforehand, but it was literally 7 figures over 12 months. About 90% of that coming from partnerships. And as I say, with literally a tiny budget, and that's how I would do it. Now, how does the signature talk fit into all of this? Well, it would be, what we didn't have back then was the amazing opportunities that today's digital environment offers. Right? We didn't have access to, Zoom, for example, and all these other types of platforms out there. So I'd apply a modern twist, and that's what I will be, doing today. And it is basically doing things virtual. So you're looking to go virtual and create partnerships with other non-competing businesses, associations, groups, all that kind of thing that have your ideal clients in their audience, and you're looking to deliver your talk, your presentation, your training. Think lunch and learns, right? Public speaking, all that kind of thing, but virtual. Or you can be interviewed on somebody else's podcast, right? That's like local talk radio and PR on steroids, because it's really ideal client radio, because you can pinpoint the type of podcast that you want to appear on. If you want to go a little bit sort of further down, then you can think, well, it's just purely a sharing of content. You can co-brand and co-create things with a partner. Now, that's an incredibly powerful way of getting in front and adding value, getting in front of an audience and adding real value to a partner's audience and the partner themselves. And that's just 3 examples, right? And it really does, like, those things in combinations. You need to spend the time on some of the foundational pieces. People hate spending time here. I sometimes have to drag clients kicking and screaming through the foundational piece, but you will not succeed unless you do it. But the whole sort of idea of then getting that piece around the authority, being introduced to a group of people through partnerships that increases your authority, and delivering an asset that you have already created. That's that sort of overlapping. That's why the ecosystem is an ecosystem, and it all compounds on top of each other, because it achieves. It's really simple to set up. It's really quite simple once you've done the foundational work and once you understand the problem. And let's be honest, these are the kind of things that you know already. You're probably spending an awful lot of time actually delivering this type of content every single day, because most B2B businesses, professional service providers, all that kind of thing, we're developing and building relationships on a daily basis. We're having conversations with potential clients and clients on a daily basis. We're having sales calls, we're giving presentations, we're doing pitches, we're doing proposals, all of those sorts of things. We're doing it already. So why not do it in a way that's leveraged, that can actually get you in front of a lot of potential clients? Because really your marketing, it needs to do 3 things, right? It needs to attract the attention of your ideal clients who need your service. And it needs to push away the people that are not right, and so you avoid all the time wasters and all the rest of it. You need your marketing to turn the attention that you're generating into trust, right? You have to show your expertise, build your authority by actually demonstrating, right? Actually demonstrating. You have that path that I spoke about, that clear picture that you can show someone, or that map that you can draw for someone and say, this is how we solve your problem in a step-by-step way, and actually taking them through that path of showing them where they are now and actually guiding them to where they want to get to. You show that path is proven, it's simple, it's presented in that unique way that nobody else has shown them before. And essentially what you actually do is you demonstrate and you show how you help people by actually helping them. Radical concept, I know, right? But then your marketing, it actually needs to have a simple way to turn that trust into cash flow. And that's where that irresistible dynamite offer comes into. And the reason I love partnerships and why I am going all in on partnerships as a core part of what I do in the business, where I help clients understand and implement, is because they achieve all of these three outcomes, right? Because your ideal clients, they're attracted and they come to you because your partner already has these in their sphere of influence, right? And you generate the leads, and you do it in a way that's far more effective than a lot of the cold advertising and all that sort of stuff, and even things like referrals and stuff, which are great, but they're unpredictable unless you have a structured system. And the beauty of this is that the trust is implied, right? It's there. It's transferred to you by your partners. It's a psychological principle that does not change. And creating that cash flow, it's as simple as putting your offer in front of people. Once you've delivered that, and the offer is normally, let's have a conversation and see how we can make this work for you, right? So that's what I would do. That is where I would sort of focus. And it's simple in its concept, it's simple in its execution, but that doesn't mean it's easy, because there are certain moving parts and all the rest of it. You've got to know how to find the right partners, assess the right partners, approach the partners, etc., etc. You've got to go through the exercises of actually figuring out what your offer would be, positioning your market, etc., etc. But once you've done that, that's the hard stuff done, and then you process and put it into a system whereby you're essentially looking to get in front of, you're looking to do, 1 to 2 to one partnership a week, right? Because think about it, like if I could put you in a room right now full of 1,000 of your ideal clients, where you could talk to them and deliver your value and actually help them see how they could solve a problem that they already know that they want to solve, and they're willing to pay money for it, do you think you'd pick up clients? Like, even if you were starting from scratch, starting from zero. And what if you had a way of doing that every single month, getting in front of one partner's audience every single week, and you did that consistently for 52 weeks, maybe you want some time off, I don't know. On average, if you got in front of 250 people with each partner's audience, and because, it's not going to be that hard and fast, it's a sterile environment. Sometimes there'll be bigger audiences that your partner has, sometimes they'll be much smaller. Sometimes you'll make an offer and it'll fall flat and nobody will take you up on it. Other times you'll literally have a feeding frenzy. So it's all about having the process and the system in place to do it. So that's what I do if I had to start from scratch all over again. And, whether or not you're even having to start from scratch, I encourage you to think about how you can build a system and a process about using partnerships as a way to get in front of ideal clients that actually want to work with you because they have the problem that you solve and they're ready to solve it. And if that has made some sense to you, it's a big part of the Growth Accelerator ecosystem, and we are putting a lot more emphasis on this now. So if you want to have a chat about maybe how this could work for you, then connect with me on LinkedIn, Mr. Adam King, send me a message, or book a time to have a conversation. You can go to thinklikeafish.co.uk/talk to Adam. So just before we go, I did hint that there is a few changes coming on the show. Not exactly sure when we're going to have the actual change, but there is going to be a bit of a shift in direction. There is going to be a name change, and it's all to reflect really this whole idea around the importance of partnerships, and really the whole idea that a rising tide lifts all ships, and that there is power and leverage in supporting other people in business, other business owners, complementary businesses, people that serve the same audience but don't do what you do, people that need you and your expertise to help their audience, their clients, and all that kind of thing. Because the power in partnerships is huge. And I wanted to move the podcast and the show towards a direction that reflected this. And so we are going to have a new name. I'm not going to reveal it just yet. And we are going to have a slightly new format where we'll still be bringing on guests. We'll still be hearing some of what they do and the kind of expertise that they have and how they help their clients. But what I'm going to be doing is getting input from listeners, from my network, from multiple different sources about the challenges that they are facing right now in their business. And the guest that I have on and I will spend 5 to 10 minutes brainstorming how to solve that. So what we want to be actually doing is offering tangible, concrete ideas and solutions to problems that people are facing right now. So if you are out there and you have a particular challenge that's going on in your business, the kind of way that I'm looking to sort of frame the question in a way just to make it easier to think of is what specific challenge are you having in your business right now that you want to be able to solve in the next 90 days? So if you have a question like that or something that's going on in your business, again, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me an email at adam@thinklikeafish.co.uk and send in your challenge. We will answer on, we may well answer the challenge on, I will interview and brainstorm it with a guest, and yeah, hopefully it will help you out. So that's the sort of direction we're going. I have already recorded a couple of interviews on the new format, and I am massively excited about the direction it's going. So I just know it's going to get better and better, and the more and more input that I get from people that listen to the show and asking the questions, I really want to build a community around it of other people pushing and going in the same direction. So please do give us a shout, tell us your challenge, we'll get it on the show, and it would be awesome to hear from you anyway, because we're over 100 episodes now, I think, or nearly 100 episodes on the show. So I thought it was about time to reassess, take it in a slightly new direction, but continue to focus on helping people like you with ideas on how to grow the business. So I hope you're excited about that. I hope you're looking forward to it, and I hope what I've shared today has been useful. And until next time, speak to you soon, and happy fishing. Bye bye.